Dim doggies
Doggies
rolling. Man, my ass is swollen.
Roll
Rawhide.
Hit 'em up, move 'em out, never
Move
up,
'em
never
out.
down.
Hey ho. Rawhide.
Dude, I watched City Slickers not too terribly long ago, like less than a year ago, I think.
Well, this
And
was
how-
City Slickers 2, by the way.
Well, I disagree. It was in 1 and 2, I believe. If not, I don't know. I haven't watched 2. Now I need to watch 2. Fuck, because Curly dies in 2. Do you know how old Billy Crystal was appearing to be in the original City Slickers, where his, quote, life was over, and he had to find a reset and redo everything that he ever thought he needed to be done?
So his character in City Slickers, is that what you're saying? Not Billy Crystal, but the character he's playing.
Correct.
How old he was portraying. And his name was Pete Slicker. Let's see here. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know his name. I don't know, 50?
No.
40?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, watching
He's
it
my age?
as a 40-pluser now, I was just like, really? Like you were, and then you know what? Then I also start to think, I don't know, maybe watching the movie, I was like, man, I really need to go on a fucking excursion of some kind and tell my wife, like, I need this, and then I would fear that she would turn back to me and say, you do need this, fucking go.
Looking this up now, he was born in 1948. So, I mean, I got to think, what's the first City Slickers?
I would say that's 1990.
91. So he's
Okay.
like 40. He's 43. Jesus.
Well, that's when it came out, so he probably filmed it right around that time. But it just kind of made me like realize that, like, I don't know. Part of the movie kind of showed me that not even that long ago, ages are different now. 50's the new 40, 40's the new 30, 30's the new 20, and yada, yada, yada. And this might have been like that right at that point of that threshold before all that changed. Because the way they like treated each other like they were dying. Like, this is the end of, like, they're at the end of their lives. Like, it wasn't like they were in the second half of their lives or, like, they were
Right.
even, like, still virile. It was like,
I've hit the home stretch.
Yeah, we've hit the home stretch. This is the end. We really need to start the end in a positive way.
Well, I mean, City Slickers 2 came out in 94. So, yeah, I'm almost certain they are riding the horseback. City Slickers 2, The Legend of Curly's Gold. And I'm pretty sure that
which I think like the acting title is like City Slickers 2: The Legend of Billy Crystal's Money Grab.
Co-starring Daniel Stern.
Fresh off of fucking like Home Alone and shit.
Yeah, narrating the last season of The Wonder Years. Yeah. So I would ask you this. All right, hear me out on this. We've talked about a lot of things. We've talked about specific subjects a lot. Poop seems to be kind of a prevalent thing here, but we've talked about Hallmark and or cards in general, right? This has been a Fun Fact Friday with the shelf life of a card. We've talked about Hallmark cards, expensive cards. Alan, by the way, who isn't here, God rest his soul, he's not here. Just
No, he's just really tired. We're just hoping he's resting peacefully.
he's hanging out with Curly. Curly from City Slickers and Curly from Stooges. I banked on that because I didn't remember his last name. Anyway, shit, what was I saying? Him basically saying that he didn't like stupid birthday or gift cards or anything like that. I really love gift cards, but you get what I'm saying. Thank you cards I hold in a different realm. They're a different theme.
Okay.
Writing someone a thank you card for a specific thing. Okay.
Well, I think we came down on this is like buying like again, I'll use it's wine o'clock somewhere. Rest in peace, Jimmy Buffett. We have all agreed that those are lame, pretty much pointless. But I will say that like a card that literally says like thank you, on the front of it, and then you open it, and it's just simply blank where you write the whatever.
Hey, we appreciate you and so for attending our such and such. Hey, thank you so much for your contribution. Hey, thank you for donating X amount of money for my kid's fucking graduation fund that's going to get funneled towards natural light in the next 6 months.
The Little League team is appreciative of the donation of your case of fleshlights. We're sure we will find a use for them in the future.
Batting practice is always hard up for things. I
We
just
can tell if your balls are in the right place. What are we talking about?
I think we're starting a very formative gift writing card career. Gift writing, Christ, a card writing career. But okay, specific instance, friend, mutual friend of ours.
You use that word mutual, really.
That's the loose lip there,
Yeah.
loose fleshlight, if you will.
A mutual acquaintance of ours who was friendly to all parties.
Correct. It had a offspring who graduated high school. Me and a couple of the people give his daughter a gift, and then no thank you card comes about, and then all three of us spent around $100.
That's bullshit right there. Because
Ah.
that's your payment. Your payment, in my opinion, is the fact that a teenager was forced to sit down at a kitchen table and I don't care how empty the words are, but was forced to write those words on the card, lick that fucking shitty glue, close the envelope, and find fucking a 60-cent stamp to put on there. I think they're 63 now. And fucking mail it through a mailbox. Absolutely. Your payment is their frustration, their penance is your payment.
That's right. And the parent supplies everything: the envelopes, the stamps, the paper, the pen. You sit your ass down and you say fucking thank you. I don't care how many. If this isn't like hey over or under 100 words or whatever. I don't care about that. I appreciated it. Thank you. Boom. Like you said, lick. Here you go. I'll find a fucking mailbox for it. But they just no one had to get them a gift. Her a gift.
No.
And it was agitating. It was agitating. Knowing full well that my mom had like a ruler that she used to smack my hands with. She didn't, but I mean figuratively she did. What do you like? What's that look for?
You sure? You sure?
Yeah, she didn't smack my fucking hand with a ruler. She basically was like, "Sit down. You're writing these. I don't give a shit. It's non-negotiable."
Yeah, that's true. Your mom's eyes are a ruler.
It's not a Oh, you thought this was a negotiation. This is not. I'm telling you what to do.
No. Again, greeting cards. Okay, for example, I find this funny. So my nephew, who just turned 30, every year for his birthday since he was like 16, I would get him like a princess birthday card. Like Frozen or just something silly. One year I actually got him like a card that came with a tiara and a fucking like a magic wand, which I'm sure now is some sort of like appropriation that's not allowed anymore. So this year I just decided like I'm gonna get him. I got him a Valentine's Day card. Now, what I tried to explain to him was this. Do you know how hard it is to find a Valentine's Day card in September? So appreciate the links that I went to just to make the joke continue. But again, that was a specific card for a specific situation. The thank you card itself, yeah, you just want them to suffer. I think that's it. You want to know that the person that you gifted something to that they didn't necessarily deserve based on your relationship with them, they have to go through some form of penance.
Sure.
Which is writing the fucking thank you card.
Me and likely somewhere between 2 dozen to, I don't know, less than 2.5 dozen people outfitted her dorm room with a lot of stuff. Mattress cover, dresser drawer dividers, slippers so they can take a shower and not get fucking athlete's foot, a bathrobe, like a carrying case for all your toiletries, hanger dividers, dresser drawer, like stuff that will go under your dorm room bed. It was basically pimp my dorm room,
Yeah.
and that's fine. Hey, shit, man, I wish I would have done it. I was looking through the goddamn Amazon registry. I was like, fuck. This is amazing. I should have done this shit. I should have fucking made this happen.
You know what's funny is like once you brought this up, I had seen the pictures on Facebook, but I went back and I studied them, and I was just like, God damn, there is a drastic difference between girls' dorm rooms and guys' fucking dorm rooms, man.
Yeah.
Holy shit! I think for my graduation, I just got cash, which is wildly inappropriate for a boy who's 18 years old. 'Cause I know what I bought with that cash, and I can tell you right now.
Ditto. Yeah.
It was not a comforter. It was
Yeah.
not a fucking like divider for my toiletries. No. It probably got inhaled into my body. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. And my friends reaped some of the benefit as well. Yeah. I just like, hey, do you need some sandals? Yeah, I got some of these. Like the thong's a little loose. I'll just like put some super glue in there. And if not, I'll roll the dice. I'll go barefooted for half a semester.
And that's not all I'll roll.
Yeah, right.
I've got some and ones. They're coming apart, but they'll be fine. I mean, they're gonna get wet anyway, right? Who cares?
Yeah. It just but again, and you make a great point. Yes, your pet and it's your time you spend to be tortured to write a fucking thank you card. Because Grace, I've gotten thank you cards from wedding parties. From the bride and groom, right? To say, hey, thank you for attending our wedding. And looking back on it in retrospect, thinking, God, Grace, there was fucking 200 people at this goddamn thing. God bless you. Now, do I need a thank you for showing up? No, I think I need to thank you. Well, I did. Well,
Maybe.
yeah, that make me. But I mean, it's weddings are nice, and but you get the dinner, and hopefully, if it's a sound thinking bride and groom, it's an open bar. But anyway, again, I've gotten thank yous like, hey, we appreciate it, and I'm like, damn. Y'all took the time to individualize this. This wasn't some sort of stamp that went. Well, maybe it was, and they just did the person
No.
and the thing.
No, I've gotten those, and they're nice cursive writing and everything. But I'll say this, and this is not a slight on anybody, but I gotta say, my thank you cards for attending weddings is kind of cheapened now because I've only been to like 3 weddings. I'm not gonna lie, and I was the best man in 2 of them. And the fact that you got a thank you card, and I got a thank you card, it cheapens my thank you card. Just saying. I put a lot of effort. I put more effort into that wedding. Okay, for example, our legal counsel, Calvert. I was the best man in his wedding. You know how much I fucking stressed out about going to that fucking wedding because I had to give a fucking speech. I had to write a speech. I had to write this whole fucking thing.
I vaguely remember crossing paths with you beforehand, and you were muttering some sort of weird fucking satanic ritual thing, like while
was
popping
me.
down cigarette after cigarette.
I had practiced that speech up to 100 times at that point. And I was probably just speed reading it out loud in my fucking mind. And and
Hey, if it's
again,
any consolation, it was great. I got choked up. The old man, God rest Foxy's soul, he thought that was amazing. So
no, I know, and that and yeah, well, fuck that whole thing because. Again, Foxy, God rest your soul, you son of a bitch. It's because of that fucking best man speech that he called me up in a drunken stupor. Me and your dad did not talk on the phone, but like twice in my entire life.
You guys talked in the basement with stuff that you used for your graduation gift.
Exactly. But we did not communicate via the Bell Atlantic very often. And I remember
Foxy didn't trust the grid.
he calls me up when I got home from work one night and is like, "Murr." I could smell the Heineken through the phone. And I'm like, and he's like, "I want you to give the eulogy at my funeral." I'm like, I don't really like having this conversation with you, Foxy. Yeah, and it's because of that best man speech that brought that on. And yeah,
man.
so I should have gotten a thank you fucking card for that goddamn speech. You shouldn't have gotten one for being there. Hey, thanks for coming and drinking all of our booze and having fun. Where Murr got to fucking like have a fucking migraine and bleed out of his ear while taking fucking 14 Excedrin just to make it through the night and smoke 3 packs of cigarettes.
You got to be nitpicky about everything.
Yeah,
You got to be nitpicky about every fucking
it's
thing.
my fucking way.
Yeah, understood. Middle class holes, everyone. Foxman, Murr, Alan isn't joining us tonight, but you got a treat later on here. Irv Barkley from Crabs in a Barrel is going to be joining us. A brand new guest, new sounds, new sights, new insight, new opinions. Unbelievable. What are you holding your breath about?
You pumping things up is funny.
I should be a hype man, right?
We're not. We're not.
I should be an anti-hype man.
Yes.
Yeah. But hey, we were all miffed. We were all miffed about the anti-thank you. That's all.
Yeah, but you know what? I know that the people that are miffed that are not you are actually going to follow through on their miffiness, where you are going to cave in some capacity and continue just to status quo, but be mad about it.
Ooh, I might move the bar a little bit. I might not attend a thing here or there.
Oh yeah, yeah, but this person doesn't schedule anything.
I also have word from a particular person,
Source.
and that person, well, a source, yeah, that they don't even know who sent gifts, so I can't even ask said person about whether or not thank you cards went out, because said person doesn't know that gifts even came or who sent them.
Is said person the person who set up the registry?
No,
There's got to be a way
that was his spouse. Well, what do you mean? Hold on, there got to be a way of what?
of knowing who fucking sent what gift, like of like who like.
Hold on 1 second. My thing's my camera's pissing me off.
Nobody. The camera's pissing you off, but no one knows about your camera.
Okay. Everyone knows about the camera. So, no.
You're like Dennis Reynolds. By the way, you were like Dennis fucking Reynolds from fucking Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Where like
right.
you think everyone cares about what's bothering you, but nobody fucking notices. It's
So I'm a
great.
narcissist. That's interesting.
Yeah, a little bit.
So, okay. God, I want to explain this in a way that isn't confusing any listeners. The person that I know that is one of the parents of the person who received the gifts, the person that I am friends with, the spouse of said person, okay, is the one who set all that up. My friend, the person that I know, is oblivious. He was like, yeah, whatever, fucking registry. I said, hey, did y'all receive my gifts? And my friend said, that's a so-and-so question. Meaning,
Yeah, no, I
ask
believe
them.
that.
I don't
And
know.
No,
Yeah.
and I 100% believe that. And actually, this is an instance where, for once, I will stick up for this person and saying that like they have no idea what's going on with that. They have zero. There is absolutely 0% chance they had anything to do with this particular fuckery.
Then that feeds into that person's like ignorance that they've suffered for fucking life about that regardless of what they do or don't know, that person needs to know, like, hey, did any thank you cards get written?
That they're not. Yes, that I do not acquit them of that crime. But
Right.
like how it was set up, what was given, blah 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 blah, blah. Like they,
Well, yeah,
yeah,
with all due respect, that person probably doesn't even know that thank you cards are a thing. It's just so you know, that person is sort of like, wait, what? You write on a piece of paper and thank someone and send it to them? I didn't. You learn something new every day.
they should be thanking me for giving them the opportunity to make our lives better.
That's right. It's like, hey, man, I'm appreciative to help your kid out in college. Look at you. So good. You don't even know how to say this. I have a tough time. I'm like stuttering so much because I think I had to talk in Morse code or something to not give out the identity of these people. But anyway, write fucking thank you cards, man. All right. Say thank you. If you don't even want to write the card, fucking there's so many goddamn outlets where you can get a hold of someone. You can text someone. You can Facebook message them. Apparently, Instagram has a messenger. I'm a little behind the times. Whatever. Christ, fucking Telegram's still a thing.
I genuinely believe, like, the way technology is progressing now, I might just have, like, William be like, dude, you're going to fucking say thank you 50 times with a different name in front. You can say the same fucking message. They're not going to know. And fucking hold an iPad up and be like, thanks, Wes, for the thing that you sent me. Just
beautiful.
Like,
I'm down. I'm tickled. Look at that. He's so cute. God, he's such an appreciative person.
That's it.
Yeah.
It takes nothing. It takes nothing. And you get all this free shit. $100, man. No, again, I saw that dorm room and I was just like, fuck, me and Jimmy didn't live like that.
Fuck no. Fuck no. I had a beach towel that served as my cum rag for an entire semester.
This is the wrong time to say this sentence, but let me swallow first. Jesus Christ. Dude, our fucking dorm was so absolutely horrendous.
Oh, was that the invention of the trash burrito?
Yes, it was.
All right, well,
we had laid down a piece of carpeting like that was the full length of the room. It just so happened to fit perfectly. And dude, throughout the semester or two, I don't remember how long we lived there. Like, I know there was broken glass on that floor, and we didn't worry about it because there were so many dirty clothes on the floor. So at the end of the semester, your brother was down, and I was like, Dewey, look, everybody abandoned me. You know as well as I do that I have to clean this room. I said, look, I'm going to make it easy. We're going to roll this fucker up like a fucking burrito. He's like, a trash burrito? I was like, yeah, bingo. A trash fucking burrito. And we just rolled. I just decided that if it was on the floor and I didn't have it in my possession now, that it was worthless. And we just rolled the carpeting up into a fucking, again, burrito full of fucking disease and fucking narcotics, and just dragged it out and threw it down the fire escape. And the room was 100% clean immediately. That was it. That's all it took. So it's the greatest sham I ever pulled, like on like any kind of like rental property. It's beautiful.
Man, that's when you like wiped your hands. You're like, whew. Hey, thank you, Dewey. I appreciate that.
Yeah, for once.
All right. Okay, get our composure together. Right, thank you, cards. We're going to have a brief break where Murrah tells you something about a warm, creamy chutney. We're going to get Irv Barkley on to tell us about Crabs in a Barrel podcast. He's going to stick around for Friend or Foe and Fun Fact Friday.
Like a warm, creamy chutney. Get ready for another spoonful of the middle class holes.
Welcome back to the Middle Class Holes. Foxman Murrah. No Alan tonight. Again, don't know where he is. Could be fucking anywhere. He's supposed to be in Hartford, Connecticut tomorrow, so I'll be sure to, with me, so I'll be sure to ask him, was he fishing, crabbing, lobstering,
What are you doing
mosquitoing?
in Hartford, Connecticut?
A wedding.
Oh. Why? Hartford, Connecticut. That's terrible.
Look, I don't fucking know. People send the invitation. I say yes, I show up. Or I say no and I don't. Look, man, we got a guest, all right? I got to introduce him. Do you want to get to the fucking guest?
I do, but I want to know this. If someone gets married and you spend a lot of money to travel to their wedding, should they reimburse you if they get divorced?
Oof. Hold on real quick. Irv Barkley from Crabs in a Barrel. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, hey, happy to be here. Now, I do want to hear your answer to the question.
All right.
We're getting ready to do
I was-
friend or foe. Let's do 2 for 1. Let's start with that one first. We have an amazing lady with a mullet we'll get to. But for right now, if someone gets married and then they get divorced, and let's say you've spent, I don't know, I'm just pulling a number out of my hat, $5,000 to go to Texas or Hartford, Connecticut, and then they get divorced, should they reimburse you for the cost that it spent for you to go to the wedding? Friend is No, it's an event. You decided you would go to it. You agreed to this transaction. So no, they don't owe you anything. Or foe, no, fuck that. This is supposed to be written in stone, under God, till death do you part. And if there's no body in a casket, should you get your money back, friend or foe? Irv, we'll start with you.
Ooh. Yeah, going friend, because I've gone to a very remote fucking wedding and lived the moment of being all the way there. And just last year, actually, Italy. So pretty crazy.
Ooh,
So
wow.
friend, I would say that was the sickest wedding I've ever been to in my life. So absolutely not. Foe, holy shit. I traveled halfway across the world. Fuck this guy. Like, fuck that. That was some shitty. Like, I'm going to be telling stories till my grave about this crazy wedding. It would be so terrible to have to tell the story of the divorced, considering the circumstances. So that's the foe in me.
So did the wedding pan out, like, just the trip itself was just good enough for you to be like, fine, keep your money, I don't care. It was, I wouldn't have gone if you didn't invite me, so I got to have this trip. Here we are. Or
My
is
wife
it
and
wasn't
I-
that good?
Well, my wife and I were planning to have a honeymoon to Europe. We changed our honeymoon, which was this like 13-day cruise thing, to go all across the Mediterranean to go to that wedding. So I would have seen like 7 countries. So the foe, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Wes?
Yeah. So first of all, foe, because we're gonna have to now delay plugging Irv's podcast. So we brought
get
him on
there.
the show for. But I'm glad you're a team player. I'm glad he's along for the ride. He'll stick around for Friend and Foe and Fun Fact Friday. Yeah. I don't know, man. First, I want to know if there's a statute of limitations. Like if it's 20 years, is there been necessarily gratuity? What's that thing where money becomes worth more money down the road?
Interest?
Interest. Well, no, not interest. Inflation. Sorry, both a couple eyes. I'm so good with money, I forget the vocabulary. You know, is there interest, inflation involved? You're like, hey, I spent $5,000 down there. $5,000 today's worth
I don't think we have to get that technical.
$17,000. All right,
I don't
just
think we have to get that technical. Just the whatever you forked out at the time, I think you should get returned to you. I feel like that. You know what? They're getting a bargain. There's no inflation and there's no interest involved here.
I will say, okay, I'm gonna foe it, but with the asterisk and expectation that he, and I'm assuming I'm friends with the he, maybe I'm friends with the she, but maybe I'm friends with the he in my hypothetical situation, that they have a divorce party that's badass, that's all expenses paid for. That the booze and the food and the travel and the hotel is all, it's all paid.
Okay.
How close I am. Because if you're inviting me to Italy or the Caribbean or where the fuck you went in Texas, that's $5,000. What did you fucking take a golden railroad?
It's plane tickets, it's hotel rooms, it's this, it's that. It's nonsense is what it is. It's nonsense, especially if it doesn't pay off in the end. Not that it was going to pay off for me anyway, but I just want some reimbursement. I'm pissed off about it. That's all. I don't need a reason here. But yeah, I'm faux, but I understand because I'm his friend and I agreed to this, so I'll take my licks and I'll move forward. But let's get to Irv. Yeah,
Like, Irv, you're married. Is it a buyer beware type thing? Like if you, but you're not going to have the expectation that a divorce is coming. You're coming to celebrate our wedding. Anything that happens after our wedding, too bad. If you buy the car and the car breaks down 15 miles down the road, fuck you. You didn't have a warranty.
I feel like I have a very savage. We all have those friends that might be going through with marriage that probably should never get married. And you go to those weddings.
Yeah.
And so that's like my, I hear what you're saying. Because rightfully, yes. The right answer is you expect nothing in return. You went, you had a great time. They put on a show and everything amazing. But then there are those times where you're like thinking, they probably shouldn't be doing this, but I got to go and support my friend in the
Right.
situation. And so those are those ones right there,
I'll tell you what. I feel like Wes kind of hit the sweet spot though. Is like a reverse bachelor party. It's like, look, guys, I fucked up. My bad. Let's go bury this hatchet here. We'll go out. We'll have some drinks. We'll have a fun night. You're not getting your $5,000 back, but drinks are on me. I could deal with that. Just a night of debauchery in the reverse. I'd be A-okay with that. But yeah, I'm still a little bitter. So I hope you enjoy your time in Hartford, Connecticut, Wes.
Vegas, baby. Now, listen, I got a little more of a $100 taste. We're doing Atlantic City. Don't worry. It's going to be fun. All expenses paid for. Gambling's on you, though. By the way, I have been to a wedding where I kind of felt that going in, and they sold out. I think it's called Chartwell Country Club in Crofton, Maryland, Anne Arundel County. What I felt about it is that they were having trouble within their first year. Whoever paid for this fucking thing should have stepped in like, yeah, you're going to have to make this last like 3 years minimum. You got to get our fucking money's worth, motherfucker.
Or 9 months and get out, okay? Let's just be done with it so nobody has to split anything in half.
Yeah, it's a great point. It's a great point. All right. Earth, thank you for joining your podcast, Crabs in a Barrel. We're going to get to the plugs where you can find all your streaming services. If you guys have anything else on social media, what I want to know is tell us your elevator spiel on the inception, where it started. Where did you guys get the inspiration? Were you guys kicking around some beers one day? Like, yeah, we ought to fucking do that.
Yeah, actually, it's I'd say COVID. COVID was our inception. I wish we were kicking around beers. It's probably this will be the one time I'm a little bit serious tonight. But like when all of the George Floyd stuff was happening, and just like the world was in its big uproar, we realized it's myself, my boy Henny, Sean, Darian, and Ron. 5 black guys. We all have very different backgrounds. Our whole purpose point is just that, like breaking down the idea that there's a monolith amongst black think, generally speaking. So we just kind of go at each other with just random stuff. But in the context of how it started, it was all of that stuff happened. We decided to start reading books. Yeah. Crazy 35-year-olds reading books. Books on some of the most serious shit that you can think of, just history of slavery and all kinds of shit here in the United States. And from that, we would meet up every week and just like go through the chapters and kind of break it down and have these conversations. And one day somebody's like, why don't we do a podcast about this shit? Like, you don't really, like, we're realizing that we're learning so much just reading these books, and we probably read like 4 or 5 throughout COVID and did this whole thing, and yeah, we kind of don't really do the book thing much anymore. Just people don't have time. We got kids and shit now, but it's overall just a bunch of guys that get together, and again, concept is nobody thinks alike. People are just people, and like breaking down kind of the humanization of ourselves through sports and all kinds of topics.
Why are you here? That's amazing.
Yeah.
No, I applaud the shit out of that. Well done. No, I just feel like, maybe a bunch of white guys should get in a room and talk about groupthink a little bit too. I think that would solve a lot of it. And then, hey, guess what? Then we all come together and we have the conversation amongst ourselves. Dude, that's amazing. That's awesome. That's the one thing I'm grateful for COVID for, is that it forced people to get in a room and have to like face themselves, face the music, and maybe figure out, like, do I think these things because I think these things, or do I think these things because other people told me to think these things?
Dude, that is so, like, that is so much of it. We sit around and we're so influenced by social media and all of these different, and we've got episodes on that. It's just like, how do you stop all of the craziness? What we grew up with compared to now, I feel like we live in a whole different world. Like, yeah. And I'll leave it there.
Yeah.
And Irv, you have a young one, and I know a couple of people on a couple of your co-hosts, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. Having watched you guys banter in real life and how entertaining that is, but when you talk about it wasn't what it was when we grew up and how the world's changed, have you talked about the changing before your kids' eyes and how crazy it's going to be 10, 15 years in their adolescence and formative years?
Yeah, actually. I mean, like, we've dabbled in it just through our conversations really on, like, social media, and then, like, there's even an episode kind of really on the idea of groupthink. But yeah, like, it's a scary world. And we all have very, very different opinions on, what we believe for our kids in the future. And so it's pretty interesting because Alex has a 3-year-old and I think Brooklyn's turning like 1, and then I've got a 3-month-year-old, and Sean's got a 1-year-old, and it's just, yeah, it's just so wild thinking about what the hell these kids are going to see in the future. But that actually made me think of something that I always tell the guys, and maybe this is just some perspective that I'll drop on you guys while I'm here. I think of the podcast more than anything as a way that my kid in the future is going to get to hear about what I said, what I thought, like really who I am as an adult, like all those years later. You're laughing, Murr. What's up? Is that something?
I'm laughing because I know what we talk about, and I know this stuff's going to be etched in the virtual ether forever. And my kid's going to turn like 18 and be like, Dad's a sick fuck. He did not sit around with his friends and try to go over the social norms and mores and question them. He talked about a woman pooping all the way down a bowling alley for a Guinness Book World Record. That's what Dad was into. Yeah, so I fear the opposite of what you're doing is good and wholesome and
Noble.
maybe makes a change in the world, where what we do is a little bit the opposite direction.
Hey, you say that now, but see, you think about how far the mind has gone to like the crazy political spectrum. I could be the old asshole to that kid, like, oh God, my dad, like I could be canceled in the future.
Good point. Well,
You just never know with this shit.
we should be canceled in the present.
That's right. That's right. I always think of what's that Jodie Foster movie where where they think they've contacted aliens?
Event Horizon.
I don't think
Signs?
no. Signs is the M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yeah, it's Mel Gibson. I think it's Event Horizon. And they think they contact the aliens, but they just really open a portal to hell.
It's not
Lawrence
a portal to
Fishburne in it?
hell. No.
Okay, fine, whatever.
Lawrence Fishburne, I think, is in Event Horizon. Anyway, I'm getting too long-winded with this because I think the first thing that ever got shot out and that a distant world would see if they were picking up television signals is Hitler, right? I think because that was the first television broadcast event. But eventually, over a period of time, it'll just keep getting funneled out, and then they'll get to us. Then they'll get to the middle class holes and crabs in a barrel, and then they'll be enlightened.
That's
And by
right.
that
And then-
point, they'll have figured out a way to translate English to Gibi Gaba or whatever the fuck they speak. Yeah. And
And then
voila.
the spaceships will come to a screeching halt because they are no threat to us. Look at how juvenile and idiotic these morons are. The galaxy will be fine. Turn around, boys. We're going home.
Actually, we need to get as far away as you can. They're really dumb. Scooch.
That's probably why they haven't come for us yet.
Probably right.
The dumbest beings in the entire universe. We're probably a comedy show to them wherever they are watching us. Entertainment at its finest. It's us just living.
Wasn't that the aliens and Simpsons were always the Simpsons were always like that? Or just like getting chuckles out of it. Yeah. So what I wanted to ask you is, to go back to a point that I made earlier, I've seen you all in action, and I mean, in social environments, whether it be at Wiley Gunther's, or after kickball games, or after flag football games, whether it be all of you or just a portion of the co-host. And again, did you ever get to a point, because for myself, someone said, you need to get your shit out there. You have an interesting background. You have an interesting take on life. You're a funny guy. You got some wild fucking stories that whether or not they get to a couple of years or thousands of years, did it ever get to a point where you thought, again, I'm a bit biased because I've seen you all banter and it's hilarious and it's funny and it's entertaining. Did you think like, yeah, we're entertaining guys. Let's fucking do this. Let's not talk about it. Well, we do want to talk about it, but let's be about it. Let's fucking make a podcast.
Absolutely. And actually, it was probably like... I just think about talking to Darian about the Eagles and prodding at him, and Ron and Sean being big-time Ravens homers. Like, your sports teams became a lot of like the outside of the book talk. Like we would get on sometimes, people wouldn't have read enough, and then we just started bullshitting. And even now, today, I love that question because we did this one episode where it was just kind of a riff. Like we didn't go, like we screwed up, didn't have a topic, and I was like, guys, why don't we just go off the cuff? Like that was what we used to do, and that was what was entertaining. Like I wish we could just, have some small talking point and just get going, because to your point, that's when we're at our best. That's when we're the most natural and entertainment. So yes, absolutely, to your question, we got there, we are there. We're trying to still figure out how to be more of that, and that's what I would say I love about you guys' podcast, is everything I watch and your shorts and everything is just like it's a blip in time at just like you guys kind of just gabbing back and forth with each other in the most natural of conversations. Like I could definitely see myself overhearing you guys out at a bar having your podcast as a conversation.
Yeah. I appreciate it, Murr.
Fucking right, man. No, yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what we struggle. I mean, inside baseball, that's what we struggle to find is like, we do these stories that kind of, we'd like to do them as jumping off points. And I think we're the best where like the story just gets us going. There you go. Wedding. Fuck that. Should they pay you back? That's where, that's where the juice really is. That's where you find the heart of that fruit, and just say, you know what, throw the paper away. And let's just start squeezing. What do we get out of this? And it's not even what do you get out of this. Let's just have it. Let's just talk about it. And let's just argue about it. I think that's where people. I feel like, I don't want to get political, but I feel like men have been under attack. But these are the things that plague men's minds. We're not that complicated. I feel like we've been under attack. Like we've like orchestrated this entire fiasco that is the world. And it's like, no, we just want to find out if we should get our frequent flyer miles back because asshole decided to get divorced after 2 years. And I spent my entire vacation to go witness the nuptials themselves. That's what we talk about. That's all we're about. That's it.
And I just want to cover my ass enough to be able to tell my girlfriend or wife to be like, I told you. I tried to warn you. Didn't listen. I went along. I did it.
I agree with that so much, Mur. Like, seriously, I think that is, dudes, we are not complex. We're truly, I don't want to call us idiots, but we are the simplest beings out there if you just let us do and be. There's not a complicated mess to it. Like, I think I saw some random thing. This will be the last thing, and I'll let you move on. But where, like, it's like a video on Instagram, and the guy is talking about how he's playing video games with his best friend. It's his best friend's birthday. He doesn't even know it's his best friend's birthday. But the girlfriend is like, how do you not know it's his birthday? You've been best friends for 9 years. That's crazy. No, you just tell me it's your birthday. Happy fucking birthday. You want to go get some beers? Have a good time? Like, that's dudes. And I just laugh so hard because I'm like, I don't know half my guy friends' birthdays. I don't. But when they happen, we have a good time. We live it up. And, like, I could see you 3 years from now, and we pick right back up. No problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a window, usually like a week, a 10-day span. I'm like, ooh, not going to get the day. Am I getting close? Am I getting hot? The 22nd, 23rd, 24th. I knew it. I fucking knew it. All right, I'm going to mark my calendar next year.
My best friend is Wes's brother, and that motherfucker hasn't wished me a happy birthday in over a decade. And I will even on the phone be like, yeah, so we went out for my birthday yesterday, and I'll pause. Yeah, and we went to
cool. What'd you guys do?
Exactly. Won't say it. He won't say. I almost feel like it's like a point of pride for him. I will never wish you a happy fucking birthday. I hold it against him, but I'm not mad about it. But I'm mad about it.
Such a good friend. Such a good buddy. All right. Well, speaking of complex beans, this woman holds a world record, and you're going to get us in round 2, friend or foe, right?
Yes.
And her sticking around.
Friend or foe with Irv. Here we go. Now, I hate to say it, Irv, but I do feel like this is a total like white person problem that we're getting ready to get into here. The Guinness Book of World Records, of course, holds records for all sorts of nonsense, and the world's longest competitive mullet for a female now sits on top of the head of a 58-year-old woman from, you guessed it, Knoxville, Tennessee. Tammy Manis sports a mullet measuring 5 feet 8 inches long. She's also now in the Guinness Book of World Records for irony because she's also the public health nurse. And she's been featured, she has not cut the back of her hair since 1990. Tanny says that she first began to grow the hair in the 80s when she saw a video called, I don't have no idea.
Video by Till Tuesday called Voices Carry.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah,
Never heard of it.
Do you think it's a music video? Let me take a peek.
Why don't you look it up while I continue here? She said, I went to get my hair cut at a barber shop, and the guy really said that that's not my hairstyle. And not what? I can't even read this. Anyway.
Well, it's Tammy with an I, dude. Do you think she's going to give you a good fucking soundbite?
Well, no, I know.
Run on sentences.
I know, but I you know what? I feel like I'm ruining this for Irv. It doesn't matter, though, because the friend or foe question is simply this. Should we champion people who go through ridiculous feats of humanity just to make their way into the Guinness Book of World Records? Should we allow these people to find a place in immortal history, or should we not allow the Guinness Book of World Records to champion these kinds of events? The friend is, yes, let them do it. Let them go so the rest of the world doesn't try. Or foe, no. We should really put our stamp on these things and not let crazy be crazy. Because in my opinion, if you say you deserve a spot in Guinness Book of World Records, that means that what you're doing is completely normal and you are the best at being an idiot. Wes, I'm going to start with you, and we'll get to Irv next.
All right. By the way, Voices Carry is a group that put out an album called Till Tuesday, and the single of Till Tuesday, and that was the only single in that album, and I think that's about it. I'm not going to bore you or pollute your ears or your minds with the soundbite. Check it out if you'd like. I'm foeing that one. So I used to get yearly, or at least every other year, a Guinness Book of World Records for Christmas, and I was always astonished at the human feet, tallest person, smallest person, fattest twins, the fingernails. Yeah. The person that they would wind up and all this other stuff. I guess it's like something, cause you can have these ridiculous, like team jumping jacks or something like that. And if people do jumping jacks for fucking 4 months in a row or something like that. At what point did longest hair then transition into these subcategories of longest mullet? Is Guinness that hard up for world records?
Well, I got to tell you, there's a kid, I go to this grocery store in Elkton, and he is purposefully growing a mullet. And I stopped the other day in the mail truck with the window down. I said, hey, man, mullet's on point. I mean, he's got he must be 17. He's got the pencil thin mustache coming in. But dude, I mean, I can tell he's rocking it ironically, he knows what he's doing. This is not like he wouldn't have done this if his buddies weren't on the baseball team. He's in the dugout Jimmy, you got to grow that mullet out, buddy. Brother, don't cut your hair for a year. See what happens. And that's where he is. This woman is trying to immortalize herself, and no one's going to catch her if she doesn't stop. So I guess that's the point of my friend or foe here is should we allow these people to find glory or not?
I don't know how much glory. So first of all, she's defeating the male by over 2 feet. Guy, Big Rich of Strongsville, Ohio, has a 3'3" mullet, and I guess that's just because again, men are simple. At some point, fuck this, cutting it off, don't care.
Well, sometimes God just takes care of it.
He's probably dead.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
be real. He's out of the race because he died.
Yeah, it's not it's just longevity. It's not a hair thing. And Tammy looks like she could stand next to Dog the Bounty Hunter and fucking help catch criminals who are not posting bail or have outstanding parking tickets or something like that. But I'm torn between this. One, I don't care that much, but I'm gonna foe it. I'm gonna foe the accolades that are given to a human being for growing a 5'5" mullet. That's cool. You want to go to a fucking traveling show, something that a carnival or a freak show or something like this. Like, look at this, the longest mullet in the world. Like, wow, that's amazing. I spent $5 to look at that. But yeah, for instances like this, give me the world's longest hair. How about that's the Guinness Book of World Record, not the mullet.
Yeah, okay, all right. Well, I got my opinions. Irv, what do you think? Do we immortalize these people or just say get the fuck out of here?
Well,
But by the way, hold on, real quick. Irv is a prepared guest. He's got some fucking notes.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, you gave me a lead, so I got to do my research and understand what I'm going to be talking about. So, all the way back to your intro, I first thought this is the most white people shit I have ever seen. For sure. That was my first thought. So I really appreciate you leading with that because it absolutely went through my mind. Secondly, I ended up going down the fucking rabbit hole.
Oh, good.
And it just, I had so many emotions. You know, the first of which, that stupid fucking hair is almost as old as me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, think about how ridiculous that is. Like,
Well, I'm gonna pause you for a second here because the mullet's 5 feet 8 inches long, and Irv, I got news for you. I'm 5 feet 6 inches tall. It's 2 inches taller than me and 2 years older than you.
thank you for crushing my soul. 5'8" is my height as well. So, yeah, okay. So there's one. If you watch the video, I don't know if you guys went that far with it, but she said the most country bumpkin ass shit. She has to dry it with paper towels because otherwise it stays wet for days.
Wow. And that ain't the type of chick that's using Bounty either. That's that brown paper shit you find in like a Chick-fil-A.
Paper towels. I died. I'm like, lady, a towel is that long. Like, come on now. But,
yeah, she might even stick her head out the sunroof at the end of a drive-through car cleaner.
Nah, Dale just sets her in the back of the truck and lets her stand up over the cab.
Well, I got news for y'all. Because you didn't watch the video, you didn't get to see that she tucks that mullet when she rides her motorcycle.
Mm.
Into the shirt or into the pants?
Into the pants. I was very prepared for her to tell me it was a belt loop. Like, I thought we were doing the full wraparound. Like, I mean, I'm just telling you. When I hear that, and she said it with so much pride, I could not. And ultimately, I went so far down the rabbit hole, I was pissed off that these people are, being immortalized in this book. I'm like, how the fuck are they doing it? One, where do you find the weirdos? And I'm... that's probably gonna get me canceled. Where do you find these weirdos? But hey, it is.
Don't worry, it's on our show. Don't worry.
Yeah, we're fine.
Yeah.
We've said so much worse, and we'll get there. Don't worry.
But yeah, even beyond that, you pay $1,000 to get in.
I did not know that.
And $800 to replace the record holder that is currently in their position if you can beat them out.
Ah, so Guinness gets their nut.
Because I'm like, how are they making money off this stuff? It makes no sense to me. Who continues to buy the book at this point? That's its own question.
Yeah.
Who buys the book today? What are you looking for when you
Well, it's a good
open the Guinness Book of World Records?
It's a good thing I moved out and I grew up. My parents don't buy it for me anymore. It's that.
Wow. But I would be willing to bet that might be one of the top 5 most checked out books at your public libraries that nobody goes to anymore.
Do you think there's people who hold world records who simply just aren't recognized because they don't have $1,800?
Sure. Yeah, I think there's some records you can't deny. I don't know, Usain Bolt, he's got to be in there, world's fastest human. And he didn't pay to be in there. He just has to be recognized as such. But then there's the guy who got on the children's moon hopper and decided to do the fastest quarter mile. That guy's paying $1,800. That guy's definitely buying his way into the book.
Yeah.
Oh, well, just so you know, it's $1,000 separately just to get your entry in if it's a nobody holds the record.
Okay, so so $1,000 to have somebody come check you out,
Yes.
and then
And-
another 8 to replace the guy.
No, so 8 is just generally if there is an existing record and you want to break it, you pay $800 to be the new record holder. Like
Gotcha.
once you have said record. So it's absurd, but it made it make sense for me because then I'm like, oh, these people. But then I did think, and this is the most disrespectful, shameful thing I'm gonna say. How proud she must have been to save up that $1,000 to have the world's longest mullet registered.
Guy from Guinness is like taking notes. Like, what's your name? Tammy. Tammy. No, Tammy with an I. Excuse
One
me.
in, one in, one eye.
One in, one out. And I see this video. I haven't watched it. It's like 1:22 seconds. And you need to film about 4 to 5 times the footage that you're going to use to get, in this case, an hour or 1:22 seconds of highlights. Her husband, I'm assuming she's married, was like, man,
I
doggy
was
style,
looking at her
doggy style
hand
works out.
trying to see her ring, Wes. I
Yeah,
was really looking.
Yeah. But he was like, doggy style works out pretty good. And like, no, we're not using that. Cut that out. Cut that out. Yeah.
Okay.
And unlike previously, like your failed marriage reimbursement that Murr talked about, for a fact, if Guinness shows up and you got some sham bullshit fake record, they're getting their $1,000 back. Oh wait, no, you got to pay them. Sorry. Never mind.
Yeah.
Shit.
Oh yeah.
That's a
No
weird-
refunds.
Mm.
No refunds.
Okay.
So Tammy did
So-
her research. She knew that she had the best damn mullet this land had to offer.
Yeah, it's like my friends talked me into having a podcast. Her friends were like, Tammy, I think you should call Guinness. Like the beer? No. Like the book. There's the author? No. The fucking.
Well, I had to check and see if those two were linked, just so you know, because then I was like, oh, Guinness, you're having a beer and you're laughing at ridiculous people. Makes sense. And then I realized they are not linked. But think about this, and just because I went there, imagine if somebody waits for you to break the record just to have the record and know that they're going to immediately make your $1,000 worthless, and they come behind you and break it right after you do it.
No, there's a guy. He was a science teacher. Now he's like a professional, like Guinness Book. He's the guy I'm talking about with like the moon hopper. He does like pogo sticks. He does all this juggling and not all these nonsensical things. Yeah, and he waits for somebody to break his record, and then he just comes back around and does it again. He's like basically he's probably works for Guinness at this point.
You should have, Guinness, if they really want to do it, have a candid camera thing where they have Tammy and be like, guess what, Tammy? You are the new world record holder, but not now. And then pull down the screen. Like, there she is. Jenny, she beat you. Jenny with an eye. Bigger mullet. And your $1,000 ain't coming back. All right, have a good night.
All right, so just to clarify, Wes, you're foe. Irv, where are you standing on this? Are you going foe?
Foe. Definitely foe.
You know, this is very rare. Usually I don't like to contribute to people's insanity. However, I feel like these people's insanity causes other people not to go down these rabbit holes. I'm going friend, because what happens is you've got these really manic, wild individuals out there who will go through hell or high water just to make sure that they can have their name immortalized in this stupid book that nobody buys anymore. They're like the Jupiter for crazy. They catch all the asteroids of idiocy. That way they don't strike everyone else's psychology. That if there's a Tammy out there with a 5'8" mullet, and then there's little Jenny, and she's like, oh, well, mine's 3 foot long. It's like, well, you're never going to beat Tammy. All right, I guess I'll go get my hair cut. You stop other people from trying when you see how far gone these other individuals are. Like me, I'm not going to try to get on the moon hopper and do the quarter mile in 2.5 minutes. But I thought about it, but then I saw old Danny McBride there on the ESPN Sports Center. I'm like, I can't beat that fucking psychotic individual, so I'm not even going to prepare myself for it. It saved probably months of my life of training. So I'm going to go friend just on that alone. They're almost like the gravitational force that stops other people from ruining their own lives. You need somebody to ruin theirs so no one else ruins theirs. And that's where I stand, and that's your friend or foe.
All right, so you're foeing the pogo stickers and the goddamn mullet havers of the world. Good for you. Bravo. Noble work. Now give us some more noble work. Feed our fucking minds. All right, Irv reads books. We don't read shit. You read a tearaway calendar and then tell us what you read.
And I can barely read anyway. You heard what I did with Tammy's story there. So let's get to it. 5 fun facts for you fuckers on a Friday, brought to you this week by the Crabs in a Barrel podcast, featuring the one and only Irv, who is joining us tonight. Irv, where can they find your podcast so that everybody can check this thing out? This noble cause of a podcast, unlike this thing.
I would say Spotify, Apple, all your main podcast streams, YouTube, all that jazz. You can find us. It's CIB the Pod, just to make sure we got that right. Instagram, all that. We got some stuff out there. Still just getting off the ground, though.
CIB the Pod. Make sure you check it out. And let's now check out some mental floss. Amazing facts. Did you know the FAA requires that air traffic controllers be 30 years old or younger when they apply to the job? The controllers must retire at age 56 before most of them experience any age-related mental decline. Huh. Try not to make this political, but they make them retire before there's any decline in mental capacity. Amazing.
You're saying there's a window between where someone is cognizant, has had some life experience, is witty and savvy enough, and then post that they should get out of what they're doing and just live out their life in their glory years. Interesting. That's fun.
Yeah, interesting. And they're only running planes. That's it.
No,
Sorry.
I did not know that. Air traffic. I wonder if you can go on to do something else though. Can you get into the board? Can you be,
I'm sure you can train.
I say
I'm sure
the board like I know what the fuck that means.
I'm sure you can train. I'm sure you can be like, all right, because dude, that is a have you ever seen how they do that job? It's complicated. I mean, it's stressful. I mean, those guys are like, I mean, if coffee's heroin, these guys are heroin addicts. Like they have to pay attention to everything.
I saw a really crummy movie in the mid '90s with John Cusack where he's a failed one who's having trouble because he got gun shy once or something. Almost crashed a plane. Well, not himself. The pilot almost crashed it under his, tutelage via the microphone. So, anyway, I'm going on. John Cusack movies are no good. John Cusack and Jodie Foster. I got to look this up afterwards.
I don't know, but I mean, I would say there's got to be some jobs where, you got to. But I like it's built into the whole requirement. Like, you got to be. I almost joined the Air Force, by the way, like a couple of days before my 35th. Before you turn 40, you can be 39 and a half the day you show up to Air Force boot camp. I was that close. I was like, fuck this job. I'm gonna let Uncle Sam tell me what to do from now on. Pay me.
You could still, I think the Merchant Marines are still holding out, dude. We've talked about this before. You get in there, get some sketched out cargo.
I bet the Merchant Marines is probably more stressful now than most of your other branches of the military. Everybody's trying to bring it to the shore, man.
Yeah. Hey, Irv, do you agree with this? Was it age 30 to 56 in the FAA? What is it, air traffic controller? You have to be the one who's guiding the plane in.
Yeah.
I have so many questions, and I love it. I mean,
I'll answer them. I don't have any, responsibility for the answers that I give.
Well, I mean, it's just to your point, though. They have these age limits. Why is that the one government agency that, gets it?
Right.
How is that not expanded to so many levels of just life in general? To your point, Wes, okay, 56, that's the age we have determined is where deterioration just kind of starts to set in one way or the other. Okay, we should be able to go fucking kick it.
That's where your mind starts to nosedive, just like plane X1432. Cessna, pull up now. Dear God Almighty. Oh, I wasn't paying attention. Shit. Yeah. No, you're 100% right. I think this is the fact that there is a government agency out there that recognizes that there's, mental fatigue, shall we say, that occurs. That we should expand that to lots of lots of other careers, lots of other voluntary positions that exist in the world. So, yeah, all right. Let's move on before we get too far down that rabbit hole. Did you know the world's oldest known forest was located in what is now the Catskill region of New York? Fossilized roots from the ancient forest are about 386 million years old, putting them in the Devonian period. Fucking Devonian period.
Devonian. God, yeah, that's one of the least eventful periods, if I, do say so myself. I mean, I've read the Guinness Book of World Records top to bottom, cover to cover, millions of times, and Devonian's never mentioned.
Not once. For good reason.
Who dusted off the cobwebs on that one?
I know.
Devonian.
What do we stand to learn from any of this, though? I mean, fossilized roots, old forest. I mean, look, I just heard the other day that like 6,000 years ago, America was like under an ice sheet a mile thick. You know, like what? Again, I come back to my theory that archaeologists just make shit up to make things
Irv.
interesting.
I know you've only listened to segments of the podcast. And I'm not sure if you know this, but Murr believes that archaeologists are also good fiction writers. Where, so for instance, there's he got the Iceman wrong. It was Otzi, but
Udi or Otzi.
So are you familiar with this? There was an Iceman who was found somewhere in frozen, but the body was pretty well maintained. And now that that body somewhere exists in some museum somewhere around the world. I don't know where, but
I think I've seen this before, yes.
But then Murr said all they knew is where he died and kind of when. And then the archaeologist makes up like, "Ooh, this Utsi the Iceman. He's a forager hunter. He was out looking for saber-toothed tiger for his family. Then he falls down. Does the family know where he's going to be? We don't know."
Well, they said there was an arrow. Apparently, he had an arrow wound in him, and of course now he was murdered, or he fell 30 feet down a crevasse, and the arrow he was carrying in his own fucking satchel just happened to puncture his fucking lung, and he just died, like other people have died throughout the entirety of human history. But no, he had to be stalked by another like Neanderthal walking around, and he was wearing the leather of a pack animal. Like, what does that have to do with anything? Anyway.
Yeah, no, man. Listen, it's like it was foul play. The competition was getting killed. Utsi was stepping foot on a glacier where he didn't belong, and Lili fucking had a hell of a day.
Huh? And none of this happened during the Devonian period, which goes to show you the Devonian period sucks.
Yeah.
Did you know? In 1961. Prince Philip became the first member of the British royal family to ever be interviewed on television. He was interviewed for Panorama, the BBC's flagship current affairs program. That's wild. We forget how young this communication thing that we do actually is. Prince Philip, who just died 2 years ago now, was the first British royal family member on TV, and that was 1961.
Damn, I watched all 5 seasons of The Crown. They didn't make mention of that once. Those sons of bitches. Jesus, I thought this was like historical, accurate.
I have a very specific question for you, Irv. So, again, white people shit. White women, especially in America, seem to be really, really, really into the royal family. Have you ever in your life given a single shit about the royal family over in jolly old England?
And Prince Harry's wife doesn't count. All right, that doesn't.
Oh, she does. She's an incel. But continue.
Abso-fucking-lutely not. Other than, how the fuck are we still celebrating the enslavers in 2020 and beyond? Let's just talk. If we're just being real about what this. In all other forms, they would be all arrested for crimes against humanity.
You bring up a fantastic
the literal
point.
Queen, right now, was an enslaver, genocide on her hands. Are we fucking serious? I'm sorry, but that's the kind of shit that is so mind-boggling to me.
I'm so glad I brought this up.
Yeah.
No, I want to ask you this. In all seriousness, I've often wondered how, like, if I'm Britain and I'm the royal family, I'm definitely like when the issue of slavery comes up going like, yep, just let them fight it out. We're going to sit over here with our arms crossed and wait and see what happens. How have they gotten off scot-free this entire time? Like they weren't complicit in all of it.
Listen, you want to hear something funny? So, my really good friend Demla, he always sends me the what's happening worldly news. Art has recently been stolen from one of the British museums, and then I think the same thing was happening in France and some other places in Europe. Right? They said we want our stolen art back. Their stolen art that they stole from all, like, it's ancient African art that they have fucking stolen themselves. We want our stolen art back. The irony. The irony of this.
Did you say, come get it, motherfuckers. Come get it.
Well, the African nations where they're like, hey, we actually want it returned to us, the rightful owners of said art and the precious, like, it's so mind-boggling.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about too, and they're just like, yeah, you know, you guys took it from us back in like I don't know, like 1500. So yeah, that's ours, and we'd like it. And they're like, oh well, I mean, the antiquity and the pomp and circumstance. They just start making up words and saying things, and they're like, but we stole that fair and square. Why would you give it back? They're such dickheads about it, and they've gotten away with it. And I mean, again, not that America doesn't have its flaws that shouldn't be pointed out. However, who facilitated all of this before we fought for the revolution? And they've just sat back and gotten away with it. Those dirty fucks. Fuck you, Prince Philip.
So that's what I think of the royal family and all that bullshit.
Good. Good. I'll
Thank
sleep
you.
better tonight knowing that.
That's a good soundbite right there. I'm just gonna we're gonna get that fucker.
Did you know those tiny little spots you see on your apples and pears are called lenticels, and they're very important. Just like people, plants need a constant stream of fresh air. Each little speck is an opening in the fruit that allows it to breathe.
Do you think
Lenticle.
it's yeah? Do you think it's coincidental that it sounds like testicles? Kind of.
Yeah.
Just I mean,
Yeah, and you know what? Your balls need to breathe too. That's a good point, Wes.
if you have a spot on one, then you have a problem.
I mean, that's what I told the cops. I was like, balls got to breathe, right?
So we say these peaches and pears.
No, just all fruits. You know, you see like the little lines and little look like little dark spots, like little like freckles on there. They're actually like pores essentially for the fruit, and that allows the fruit underneath the skin to actually suck in oxygen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't eat fruit. You know, just a meat and bread eater here. I don't know.
I'm gonna be looking at fruit tomorrow. Like, where are the black things?
Look at that.
Lenticles.
Say, Beth, I learned something last night. I know you don't think I did that with these idiots I did a podcast with, but that fucker right there.
And as I always say, not all fun facts are created equal, okay? So did you know? In addition to a strict diet, which included chewing but never swallowing his steaks, Rocky Marciano maintained an obsessive workout regimen that went way beyond the heavy bag. The Knockout King, who was born on Friday, September the 1st, 100 years ago, was convinced that he could even train his eyes to react faster in the ring by installing a pendulum over his bed and watching it go back and forth. So he would work his eyes out.
So he would chew meat in order to train his jaw muscles. That way, if he got hit, that he'd be able to take the punch and not like disrupt that nerve that runs from your ear to your chin and knock you out. At the same time, had the patience and the dedication to spit it out and not eat it. Jesus Christ, man. That I didn't know. And that's wild. I heard of guys like chewing gum. I heard of guys like eating small amounts of beef jerky.
Why are you obsessed with the steak? I don't get that part. I mean, maybe he just needed to keep his weight down so he could make the weigh-in. But he's still
but he said he spit it out. He didn't eat it.
Yeah, he's trying not to put on extra mass.
As a man, that's not fascinating that he had the fucking the regimented training to like
I know, but
not
I
eat
feel like
the
you're
steak.
like. I know, but I feel like you're just concentrating solely on like jaw muscle activity. The guy who hangs a pendulum above his bed is just willing to like chew on his like shoe straps or something. Like he doesn't need the steak.
Do you want to know like a parallel to this? This is I'm drunk and I had a chick naked in my bed, and I just put my penis close to her, just run it up around there, and I just put my clothes back on and went to my house and went to bed. That was good enough for me.
There's so many disconnected lenticles here.
But I just think that the patience and the wherewithal to do that, it's amazing. That's all.
I'm
But
moving on from you.
the thing flopping around, yeah, training his eyes, that's awesome too. He also used to shadow box in a like a custom built thing that was like about 5 foot to keep low
Okay.
and have his back muscles built up.
Okay, since you know so much about Mr. Marciano, how tall was Marciano?
5'9",
Okay.
5'10". What a big guy.
So he was a mountain of a man. That's what you're saying. Or,
It was as big as Tammy's fucking mullet.
how much do you know about old Rocky Marciano, Irv?
I just know he's a legendary boxer, like from the olden days. Look at him as like the great white hope of that time.
Of all times, really. I mean, let's be honest here. I do have a. How much into boxing are you?
Not since like when we like the Holyfield Tyson. Like I watch it now. Like I've watched Floyd fights. I've watched Oscar De La Hoya and all. But it's like not as entertaining to me really anymore. Now the local champ, Gervonta, love his work because he goes to knock bitches out. And that's the kind of boxing I want to see. I don't like the dancing around that these guys do nowadays. I want to see people go and fucking go at each other and go for a knockout. And I just don't feel like boxing is like that as much today. So,
Do you watch any of that bare knuckle stuff?
oh no, see now that's some gangster shit. And I don't like watching people like hit each other in the face and seeing all the blood and gore. And I'm just thinking one of them is dumb enough that like one bad hit you kill somebody. And now it's not even cool no more.
Yeah, I was watching some slap videos today, and I'm just like, what is this, dude? It's awful. It's awful. I can stomach a lot of shit, man, but like watching this, like Dana White, didn't he buy into that or something?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep,
like,
he did.
I'm watching a guy who's got. If you took the mirror and put it right here, he'd be a normal person. But then you expand it, and he's got fucking a head and a half. Like his brain's swollen. Like we've been worried about CTE and all this shit for a decade now.
He's like,
They're just like they should be sponsored by CTE. That's what they fucking brought to you by traumatic head injury and
I
Pfizer.
mean, dude, like those guys are like literally hitting each other so hard they're having strokes in the moment. Like when you look at their face, I'm just like, God, like I can't watch that. Because to me, that's too close to human. When they got the gloves on, but when you beat them to blood with the gloves, at that point, like, now I know we got like a real fight, and somebody's just going to end up, like, losing here sooner than later. But, like, with the hand-to-hand, like, blood could come on one hit.
Yeah.
And at that point, I'm like, that's where I lose my interest. Once now I know the next step is like could be death kind of situation.
Yeah, it kind of stops being a sport when like a body bag could come out in the next round.
Don't call the fight. I'm into Guinness for 1,000. Don't know if I can make it up.
Oh shit. And that, my friends, is your Fun Fact Friday.
Oh, well, Irv, listen, man, thank you for joining. Do you want to give one more plug for the Crabs in a Barrel?
Sure, yeah. Hey, look us up on Apple, iTunes, that is, Spotify, Crabs in a Barrel podcast, CIB the Pod on Instagram. But yeah, just 5 guys, different opinions, just talking about shit. I'll have to have one of you guys on sometime.
Yeah,
Dude,
and we
I'm
will have to
totally
have you
game.
back.
Seriously, like this, an absolute pleasure. So thank you so much for joining us, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, fellas.
We aren't doctors, but we'd love to take a look at some more of the middle class holes.
Irv, thank you so much for joining. Check it out, folks. Crab in a Barrel podcast. As he mentioned, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I think he said YouTube.
It's everywhere. Just fucking look
everywhere.
for it. and
Crab in
you'll
a Barrel
find-
and CIB
podcast.
CIB podcast. Okay, sorry. There's something
Maybe.
else. He had the abbreviation.
We're drunk.
Whoa!
I know, and I want to go on that show. Look, I'm a simple white man.
Yeah.
I have simple white man thoughts. I'd like to join some African American. Look, I'm glad these guys have done what they've done, where they've sat around and decided, like, hey, do we think this way because we think this way, or do we think this way because other people think we should think this way? That's beautiful. And I think that's how everybody should operate. I think you should take everything with a grain of salt, especially I really think you should do a deep dive on yourself. Look, I meditate for sanity, but a lot of times in those meditation sessions, I think about, well, why do you think about it that way? Why do you think about it that way? And I think and it's great to sit around with friends that you trust to actually have that conversation. Like,
And I also and I had mentioned this when we were interviewing him. I've seen, I know the co-hosts, not well, but I've met them a number of times and have seen them interact as a unit. And as I mentioned, it's entertaining. But he made a very valid point. We said, just because we're all African American and of the same age, it doesn't mean we all think or feel the same way. So once we start talking about topics that either may be taboo or somewhat controversial, it doesn't necessarily mean we all have the same opinion about it. And that was compelling, in my opinion.
well, sure, especially because I think when you watch the news, like, Black Americans are supposedly only supposed to be like Democrats and liberal in thinking. And I don't think that's the case. Mm-hmm. And I think that's, just like, if you live in the country and you're white, you're a conservative. If you live in the city and you're white, you're a liberal. That's not necessarily true. And we should discuss these issues. We'd be better off for it, 100%.
You figure out your Venn diagrams are pretty similar if you're a rational thinking people. If you're a rational thinking person.
If you're a rational thinking person, there is so much overlap. There is very little on the fringe. There really is very little on the fringe when you're a rational, sane person talking about the way the world is and should be. 100%.
Yeah. And rational, sane thinking people write fucking thank you cards to fucking people gift their, God damn it. All right.
For fucking kids that they do nothing to do with.
Nothing.
Hundreds of dollars worth of shit.
Pimp my fucking dorm room. Hope it's worth it. All right. So we've had, and granted, folks, listen, I hate to show you the man behind the curtain here. We sometimes record a couple shows in advance. And it's been a little while since we've recorded actually up to date. And here's just being like early September. So we've missed a few celebrity deaths. So Murr had this great idea. Okay, we've got, Murr said we ought to rank them in order of importance.
All lives are meaningful, but some lives mean more.
That's right. That's right. You're absolutely right. Listen, the Micro Machines talking guy, he was cool. The person who cured polio, he's a better person.
Hey, listen, Michael Jackson died on the same day as...
Oh, when did Michael... 2010. I don't know. Who was it?
Oh, that would be Farrah Fawcett.
God damn.
Who did more for your loins?
I don't know, but I have danced at some weddings to a Michael Jackson song that may have done some things for my loins. So
Okay, fair enough. That is a fair point. That's a valid and fair point. But again, if Farrah Fawcett died a week earlier, because if she died a week later, it still wouldn't fucking matter. If she died a week earlier, she would have had a whole week to herself. But now she just... Some people are asking, like, some people are waking up today. Some people are hearing this right now. Farrah Fawcett's dead? Like, they don't even know. They don't.
I saw those nipples through that little white T-shirt last week on that poster in my bedroom.
Oh, you might need that you might have a space right behind your head between Harry taking a shit in the toilet and
That's
fucking
right.
between the Big Lebowski fucking. Ooh, yeah.
I could get there. I could get there. So we got Jimmy Buffett, Bob Barker, and Smash Mouth.
That's
Wait,
a tough crowd.
is it Smash Mouth?
I think the fact that we don't know his name could
Hold
give you
on.
an order of importance.
Here's,
But
here's
hey,
the deal.
Hey, now he's an all-star.
Steve Harwell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, I will say this. I remember. Okay, it must have been like the summer of like '97. I think we just graduated. Maybe we were going to '98, still hanging out with some of the old friends from high school. And Ron Joffmeister was like, "I'll tell you right now, this is gonna be the song of the summer," and it was All Star. And I'll be goddamned if he wasn't right. Look, those guys left their mark. They left their mark. Smash Mouth left a mark on the world. Like All Star comes on, man. Like I don't know how many people don't know that song. I'm not saying they're happy about it coming on, but you're aware of that song. Smash Mouth had a couple of hits.
All Star and Walking on the Sun.
Yeah.
Might as well be walking
on the
sun.
Yeah, they made their way through the modern rock scene of the time and somehow wedged themselves between the ska era and capitalized on both. And,
Sure.
and anybody who can take their art and put it on the forefront for the world to be aware of, they did something with their lives.
I have to, and you're right. And I listen. Steve Harwell is wildly more successful than I'll ever be, and I hate to say this. Like, hey, you play second fiddle to Jimmy Buffett and Bob Barker, but the deal is, we had to do it. We make hard decisions, and we're ranking him. We're ranking him as number 3. I have to think that his blonde hair tips is what inspired Guy Fieri, and then at some point around like circa 2002, Guy Fieri was like, "Wow, this is not in style anymore." And then I was like, "Well, you know what? Fuck it. I'm invested. I'm doubling down. I'm hoping that the blonde tips come back."
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna
What's
wear I'm not gonna dye my goatee. I'm gonna wear my sunglasses backwards on the back of my head. That's my style.
I'm gonna critique food, or actually just say, "Yeah."
But
that's
you know what?
Flavortown.
I gotta say, I don't like the Guy Fieri hate. I think Guy Fieri is a national treasure, and I think Cleveland should be renamed Flavortown. Or Columbus. I'm sorry, Columbus, Ohio. is where
Columbus.
he's
Columbus
from.
should be
Yeah.
renamed Flavortown. But long story short, Sarah and I were at a Orioles game last summer, and we're not realizing that a certain amount of Fridays or Saturdays are
Post-game
musical
concert.
guests, post-game concert, and it was Smash Mouth and Drew Hill. And she said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "I'm fucking, the beer's going to get open to it." Like, they stopped serving beer at the 8th inning. They waited like 20 minutes. They rolled out the stage. I was like, "Fuck it. Let's just go down and watch." And Helen, I mean, All Star, Walking on the Sun. Then Drew Hill came out. For those of you who don't know, Drew Hill and Cisco. Cisco is a Baltimore native. Man, that place was bumping. That place was wild. That place was raw. That place was rough.
Dude,
Then
hey,
we went home and passed out with our clothes on.
look, man, look. I would have watched that show. If I was there, no, I would not have left early. I would have watched Smash Mouth perform
Yeah.
their hit.
Rest in peace. So where were we ranking? I was going to go Barker, then Buffett. Are you a Buffett, then Barker guy?
So wait, where are you putting? Okay, if we're saying 1 and 2, who's your 1? Who's your 2?
I'll say Buffett is 1, Barker's 2.
Man, yeah, I'm struggling with this because
Listen, this was not I wasn't brushing my teeth like, "No, Jimmy Buffett." Like, this is tough for me. But I've seen Buffett in concert twice.
see, I never got to see Buffett in concert. Bob Barker is a staple of Americana. I mean, the whole
He's a staple of unemployed Americana. You're absolutely right. That is such a sound statement.
of our generation, like when you skip school or you fake being sick or whatever it was, like, I mean, 11 o'clock came around, the fucking Price is motherfucking
Listen.
Right is on.
When Rob
what you
Ronnie fucking introduced him and those carpets came over and that shit crescendoed in the and he came strolling out fucking liposuction and Botox to a goddamn T, hair slicked back, white teeth, and was given that goddamn microphone that's 4 feet long and just the size of a toothpick. Ah, man, you couldn't help but be like, hell yeah, let's get to some washing machines.
And he was a cocksucker, man. If you didn't know the game or you were a fucking twat, like, he made sure America knew. He made sure that America that was paying attention, rational-minded, sane-minded human beings knew that, no, this is an idiot. If you weren't aware that this is an idiot, I'm pointing out, no, why would you do, no, that's the, He would show his disgust in you. He was a master of the putt. I mean, he could, Bob Barker could sink a 30-foot putt.
Guy had been a California guy for fucking 40 years. You think he didn't hit that? They film like 5 shows a day. Christ, you
Sure.
think he has some off time to hit some of those, like the LA Country Club, probably the same place Tiger was fucking. Tiger and Happy Gilmore were at.
But Jimmy Buffett, I mean, that guy established like literally a way of life. The fuck it all. I mean, look, there's been times where I've been depressed and fucking Margaritaville comes on and I'm like, God damn, I should just slow down. I should slow down, find the slow point, and then speed up. Drink more, faster. like there's just this thing about, and then to capitalize on that, to become this like hippie, you do you, but man, this is what I do, and man, if you try this shit out, you ain't going back. There's something to it, man. So I don't know. In my heart, I want to say Bob Barker's my number one.
Okay.
But I know that Jimmy Buffett is a bigger loss than Bob Barker.
Yeah. So, as a kid, as a child, my grandfather always had a Jimmy Buffett best hits in one of, he got a Cadillac every 3 or 4 years. But it used to be a soundtrack of a summer. Even some of these, why don't we get drunk and screw and meet 11? Like, that's awesome. He's talking about having sex. Wild. But then having seen him a couple times, it's just like the being in not just a concert, but going there and experiencing like 4 to 6 hours of tailgating with true parrot heads. It was an experience. That's all. And that's, I think Buffett encapsulated. And I knew just a girl that I used to pal around with, like 19 to 22 years old. Anyway, her parents had friends who lived in Sullivan's Island, South Carolina, which is adjacent to Charleston. Buffett had a house there. And according to rumor, he fucked all the women. Every woman up and down Sullivan's Island. How could they resist?
Well, they weren't called Barker's Beauties for no reason. There was a lawsuit about it. Let's not forget. But see, this is why it's really tough for me too, because I had 2 dreams in life. I either wanted to be a radio show presenter or a game show host. And the game show host was inspired by Bob Barker. I got to do one of them. And because I was a radio show host, I got to host my own Newlywed Game one time, and I fucking killed it. But man, Bob Barker inspired, like, just that smarmy, I'm more aware than everybody else attitude. The fucking, like, there's something, and the whole pet spayed and neutered thing. Did that make a difference? Maybe back in the 1970s and 80s. But but I think unfortunately, Jimmy Buffett's gonna live on because of the music. And it's a way of life. And it's a good way of life, man. It's a relaxing way of life. It's a fuck all this stress and pressure way of life. And I think that is what America needs. And that's what Jimmy Buffett represents. and he was younger. He died of a really aggressive cancer, and that's sad. Bob Barker fucking didn't go over 100. He made it out by he made it out by the rules, and and unfortunately Jimmy Buffett was cut short. So I'll give Buffett the top spot in this one.
All right. Excuse me. Do you want to tell the kids and the kidettes where you can find us?
Bottom line is this: we are the Middle Classholes. There's a variation of that on all of your social media platforms. You can find
MDL Classels.
somewhere. You can find us on Twitter, which is now called X, by the way. Only X. Like, that was like... Can we talk about that? Like, can you just change the name that dramatically and then just, like, pretend it didn't happen, but it did? And then just be like, everybody's going to adopt it eventually? Like, are you calling it X, or are you still calling it Twitter?
I don't. X gonna give it to you. I don't know. It could be.
Have you opened the app recently?
No, I don't even. I haven't looked at Twitter in ages.
It's not even... The bird's gone, dude. It's just a fucking... It's a black fucking box with a white X in the middle. It's fucking X. You can find us there. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube,
TikTok.
All the places you find us. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, anywhere you get your podcasts, you can find the Middle Classholes.
MDL Classels is sometimes the abbreviation. This person wasn't a celebrity death, but it was a death of a friend that was very close and near and dear to me. A good friend, Mike Yanko, who I've mentioned on the podcast a couple times, passed away this last week. Actually, the week before last. Succumbed to a rare, very rare type of brain cancer. Point is, I am sad. I'm still dealing with the trials and tribulations of a friend of mine who I loved, who isn't here anymore. But pales in comparison to the fact that I'm glad that I met him. I'm glad that I crossed paths with him. I'm glad that I got to call him my friend. I'm glad that I got to move into Baltimore with him. I'm glad that I got to tell him that I loved him. And this show is dedicated to you, my friend. Wherever you are out in the cosmos, hopefully maybe this cross paths with you. So if you have a friend who, I don't know, someone you haven't seen in a while, someone who you just love, someone who's you consider your best friend, hit him up. Tell him you love him. That's what we're all about. And this show's dedicated to my buddy.
I just want to say this. The greatest thing about Yanko, which is all I knew him by. I didn't know his first name for like a decade. Yanko.
It's like a silent J. No, it's a fucking Y.
Yanko like just showed up one summer at the basement, the foxhole, and I swear to God, this was the tone of Yanko's like presence. Was like it was like the third year of a sitcom. Like, this is Yanko. He's our friend now. Okay. And I'm like, all right. And after my first conversation with Yanko, he and I always had like disgruntled disagreements that were completely accommodating to each other. Like, it was just like we would get ferociously like argumentative, but it was all good. And I can remember my best Yanko story is, I don't know why, I was staying with you in your place in Baltimore. I don't know if there was an opening day the next day, if it was just to get drunk and fuck it one night. But it was like 2 a.m, 3 a.m. maybe, and I decided to sneak out your back door to have a cigarette, and it's fucking pouring down rain. And I crack open the door, and I'm fucking startled because Yanko's standing on like this little like 2-foot by 4-foot deck in a raincoat, and he's smoking a pork butt. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? He's like, that's fucking rain. The goddamn fucking smoker's fucking losing temperature, so I'm gonna have to sit out here and stoke it all goddamn night, make sure we have fucking pork for the fucking morning. Like, all right, I'm gonna finish the cigarette. Head on in. He's like, yeah, fuck it, I'll be out here for a while. Get some sleep. I'm like, all right. And then, yeah, the next day we had pulled pork sandwiches, and it was amazing.
Yeah, it's probably good, probably delicious, yeah.
And the other story I'd like, he had a massive record collection, and the thing that I'm most upset with myself about is when my radio station got sold. There was a point at the very end where it was like, grab what you can, and there was records, lots of records. I still have those fucking records somewhere in this fucking house. I don't know what happened to them. I don't know where they are. And I always promised Yanko, I'm going to find this stash because I know he would have loved them because they were filled with like weird movie soundtracks. Like the one that I really wanted to get to him, it's a Harrison Ford movie. It was like a romantic comedy. I don't know what the name of the movie was, but on the cover of it, it's Harrison Ford wearing like a gray houndstooth fucking suit with a red tie, and there's a woman standing seductively behind him. I don't know what the movie is.
Not Blade Runner?
No, it's not Blade Runner. It's something like that he did between like where he played Jack Ryan and a shitty Indiana Jones movie. And I never got to give those to him, and I'm so mad about it because there were several occasions where I saw him and I thought he wasn't paying attention when I was talking, and all he was doing was finding the perfect record to play for the conversation that we were having in the moment. So, God bless you, Yanko.
Here's okay. Now we're at like jarring memory. It was you, me, Dewey, Jimmy, and him, and he was driving. We were driving up for. We went up to see the Orioles play in the last series ever in Old Yankee Stadium. We made a point. We said, look, but we're never going to get to see that stadium again. We need to go up and fucking do it. 2008. I remember somewhere in the Jersey Turnpike where we're trying to figure out pitching staffs for like mid 90s Orioles teams. And I thought I had like picked, I was nearly certain that I knew who the fifth pitcher was in this, I don't know, like 1995 or 96 Orioles. And I kept saying, I said the name and Yanko, no. I was like, wait a minute, that was really funny. And I just repeated the name. No. It's like, you sure it's not? No. And it's over and over and over again. And finally, like Dewey, my brother, Murr's best friend, was like, if you fucking say that name again, Jesus Christ, I'm going to pummel you. You sure it's not, no. Nope.
And he drove the streets of New York City like a fucking cabbie on fucking meth, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I just remember sitting in the back seat being like, you win. Whatever this game you're playing is, you fucking won it. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for fucking bringing me.
Get us to West 86th Street. Let's get there. So, rest in peace, man. You'll be missed. All right. Middle Class Souls, everyone. Murr and Fox, man. Alan will get back to us next week. We hope. Otherwise, shit, man. Find someone else. Maybe we will. Oh, yeah. We'll find Steve Harwell. Good night.
I'm on a stage, I'm gonna sell you